Richard Wayne Dumas, born May 19, 1969. It would have been interesting to see if he could have kept clean, how great a player he could have become. That kid had so much talent, but when you get involved with those drugs, it's gonna end badly. Quotes by Hall of Famer and former teammate of Dumas, Charles Barkley, put a literal life story for Richard Dumas. It all began at the age of just 5 years old, followed by lack of proper supervision, misdiagnosis, and curiosity. By the time he was a teenager, Richard had graduated from drinking beer as a tool to medicate, smoking cigarettes, and experiments with marijuana. By this time, he was completely open to his curiosity, along with enablement due to his mother not being around to watch his every move, having to work 2 jobs. Unbeknownst to him, he did have a real problem that wouldn't be properly diagnosed until later in life when things all crumbled. Although he was only a second-round draft pick that attempted to leave the arena, not hearing his name called earlier in the draft, he did make the NBA and brought all his baggage along with him. He would have times in the league where he looked like a perennial all-star that could be a cornerstone player for a franchise looking to get over the edge, and one that could have used his size, length, and athleticism to defend a player that was dominating not only the league, but the Suns when they made it to their last finals appearance in '93. He was a high school star, college star, and made the NBA, all while drugs and alcohol played a huge role in his life, and as he'd say, helped him get there. His story of making it to the highest of heights to later being a janitor and arrested for stealing DVDs and sneakers is an interesting one, and can hopefully help a young player struggling with the same. Here are 3 reasons Richard Dumas's growth was stunted, causing him to be a flash in the pan, remembered for his unique athletic ability, but more for his failure to develop into his full potential. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Dumas was a 6'7" forward born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, whose father played at the highest level at the time, the ABA. At a young age, his father was sent to fight in the Vietnam War, forcing he and his mother to move around before finally settling in Oklahoma, where he grew a few inches every year of high school, moved from point guard to forward, and became a high school star and All-American. What's up, guys? Become a patron now. There you can find exclusive workouts, move breakdowns, and tutorials to help your development in certain areas. Also, receive consulting each week with me where I help break down your game and build you into the player you want to become. Patreon.com/stuntedgrowth for more. Link is in the description. Enjoy the video. Stunt number 1, addictive personality. Like my most recent feature, Lloyd Daniels, Richard Dumas too had the same type of curiosity mixed with a need to chase a good feeling. Personalities like this seem more susceptible to become addicted to things that make them feel good, or to them normal, like drugs and alcohol. Unfortunately for Richard, his gateway came at just 5 years old through his own father that would give him a beer regularly to calm him down. No one yet knew he had what was known as ADHD, so this was done to keep him from hurting himself and to give his guardian some rest. By 13 years old, he was drinking beer, smoking weed, cigarettes, and stealing his mom's medication, curious to know what that high would feel like. In high school, Dumas's teams were used to being on top. In fact, they won the state championship 4 years in a row, 3 in his time. Another unique element to Richard's personality was that he hated being around large groups of people, loud noises, and bright lights. Ironic he chose the sport with some of the brightest lights, loudest noises, and largest crowds, which he says wasn't his first choice, but because basketball was natural to him and could afford him a scholarship one day, he played. He would need a few beers before every game to help him relax and just play. He received scholarships from names like Arkansas, Georgetown, and of course Oklahoma State, which he eventually chose because it was close to home. In hindsight, he states that he wished he chose one of the other schools for their up-tempo system instead of the slow pace at Oklahoma State. The summer before he showed up to campus, his friend laced a joint with crack cocaine, and Richard was off to the races, as he explains, trying to chase the high it gave him ever since. It would be the worst experience of his life. On the court, he was able to mask it all. He was the second leading scorer in the nation for freshmen at 17.4 points a game, adding 6 rebounds and almost 2 steals. His numbers declined each season, possibly tied to his newfound crack addiction and his inability to quit. He was suspended during his junior year for testing positive once again, leading him to leaving school to go play overseas. This addictive personality caused him his college eligibility and chance to be drafted higher, as it would be the very reason he was taken so late. Stunt number 2, couldn't kick. DUMAS was taken with the 46th overall pick in the 91 draft by the Phoenix Suns, and right before the season, he was suspended for violating the league's substance abuse policy and missed his entire original rookie year. A person with DUMAS's early introduction to substances is always going to find it tough to let go of something that made you feel normal and good at the same time for as long as he could remember. He had already had trouble with the normal day-to-day components of being a basketball player and found alcohol the only form of medication that could help him play to his potential. Because of this, it was difficult for him to leave it alone in a league it was frowned upon. During his suspension, he played overseas again, where he got clean for the most part and polished his skills. He returned to the Suns through John Lucas's team of ex-NBA players who've gotten suspended and looking for a way back through an invite to participate in a summer league against NBA players. He had 50 points in his first game, followed by 46 and 36. Jerry West made a call to bring DUMAS back to the Suns, and on the floor, it was a good decision. He became second-team All-Rookie, averaging 15.8 points a game, 4.6 rebounds a game, and shot 52%. With the addition of Charles Barkley, the Suns won a league-best 62 games and made it to the finals against the '93 Bulls. By this time, he was drinking a 6-pack of beer before every game to soothe his mental imbalance. For the most part, he let go of the crack and only drank alcohol to medicate his personality. They lost in 6 games to the Bulls on the infamous John Paxson 3 to win the game. That summer, he was suspended again because on his summer trip to Hawaii, he found a way to use, this time, pure cocaine, to which the league found out after having to rescue him from the island and agreed he'd do rehab once again. He would play just 15 games for the Suns again in '94-'95 before failing another drug and alcohol test and being waived. He signed with John Lucas and the Sixers for the '95-'96 season, which he calls the worst basketball year of his life. After Lucas found out he drank before every game, he adjusted his drug testing time so DUMAS couldn't, and it affected his play on the court. After the season, he and the team agreed to part ways, leading him back overseas. Stunt number 3, tearing his patella in half. Now entering his prime, DUMAS tried to make an NBA comeback after his term overseas, and while in Croatia, he tore his patella completely and it never responded to the rehab as he was officially done playing. It was the final growth stunt of his basketball career, but not his life. He soon divorced his wife and began using again, which between the two and child support fees, along with not making that much money in the NBA in the first place, he was back to square one. He began working odd jobs here and there, one of which was a janitorial position. One day on the job, he was caught on camera stealing cigarettes, alcohol, DVDs, and a pair of tennis shoes. Even though the arrest happened in 2011 and he was told just don't return and charges wouldn't be pressed, he was arrested at his youth facility in 2014, 3 years later, and charged with 8 felonies and sentenced to 3 years probation. All in all, Richard Dumas's story is one that many agree could have been something special had it not been for drug abuse. More than that, he was later re-diagnosed with bipolar depressive disorder, anxiety, and a serious mental illness that made it hard to control himself at times. Maybe if this wasn't the case, or he didn't find drugs and alcohol along his journey, he would have been everything he was expected to and made all the money his talent suggested he should have. But for these reasons, his story is now used as a precautionary tale shown and told to players all across America of what not to do and what may happen if you do. Salute to Dumas for being forthright with his experience and getting to a place at now 51 where he does seem clean and can finally help and guide so many of the youth that need it. Once again, appreciate his story. Salute to him. Much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out. Make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/stuntedgrowthgaming if you want extra free content like me breaking down the day's highlights, moves, drafts, and past players or games upon your request. Let's chat and talk live, as it's easier to answer your questions than a place like Instagram where your messages tend to get lost. Follow me there, it's free and we can connect instantly. Join the Discord as well to chat in-game. I'll leave links to everything below.